Welcome to the third installment of the CanCham Taiwan Podcast. I'm your host, Director and Head of Communications for CanCham, Ping Chu. For this episode, I interviewed the winning team from the 2021 Dragon's Chamber pitch event for foreign entrepreneurs, MangaX. CanCham Taiwan has been a proud sponsor and one of the founders of the contest since it began in 2016. So without further ado, here's my interview. Today I'll be talking to Joe Huang and Genevieve Murphy about EdTech for emotional health. Joe Huang is the co-founder and CEO of MangaX, an EdTech company focused on social and emotional learning. Joe holds a PhD in computer science and was formerly an assistant professor in the Department of Medical Informatics at Zhichi University. Genevieve is the global program director and also a co-founder of MangaX. She graduated from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro with a bachelor's in elementary education with a concentration in psychology. She has 18 years of experience in the field of education. Together, they are the winning presenters of the 2021 Dragon's Chamber Pitch Contest for Foreign Entrepreneurs. So first off, let me congratulate you both on your win.
Thank you very much.
So let's start with a fairly basic question. For those who aren't familiar with the concept, what is EdTech?
So EdTech actually comes from two words, education and technology. So basically, we use technology to deal with the problem that we have in education. Mm-hmm. So, for example, remote learning is a kind of EdTech application. Right. Yeah.
And you also tell your app Manga Chat, which we'll definitely delve into more later, as a socio-emotional learning platform. Can you briefly explain what socio-emotional learning is?
Yes. So social emotional learning, also known as SEL, has become quite popular in Western cultures over the past 5 years, especially. There's been a big spike. And basically what that means is, I think the education sector at large realized that there's more to teaching and educating a child than just the academic content and focus and testing and all of that stuff. And so it's broadening that scope to incorporate more aspects of the whole child. So their emotional well-being, their ability to identify emotions and manage those emotions, and then how they are able to interact socially. In a respectful and responsible way. Yeah.
Well, I really wish that they had that kind of stuff when I was a kid, because there's a lot of people I know who could have used some SEL when I was young.
Right. Still are.
I think myself included. I'll be honest, if I'm totally honest. Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned in your pitch some alarming statistics. Some that stuck out to me are that suicides in Taiwan among those between 15 and 24 was up 65% as of last year, which was 2019 actually statistics. Yet 60% of schools on the island don't even have a counselor on staff. So what inspired you to use this technology to tackle this gap between the need for counseling and what schools are actually able to provide?
Yes, we do know how important mental health is, especially in schools. And of course, we do need more resources and more counselors going to the schools, but we still need an immediate solution to tackle this gap, because you need money, you need time to hire counselors, to train the existing teacher to be able to implement SEL classes. Right. So the first thing we think about is using technology. So that's why we team up together. So in our group, we have expert engineers, designers, and teacher and school counselors that we work together to come up with this idea by using technology. So by using a platform on internet, we can add gamification, we can add animation to automatically guide the child through the process of dealing with their emotions. So that's why we create Manga Chat, the platform.
Wow. Okay. That's quite an amazing story. So your application, and as you kind of referred to earlier, is very unique in that it's an illustration-based digital diary. And I'm taking this directly from your marketing copy off your website. So can you explain how your app works and how it uses technology like AI and natural language processing, which some people might know as NLP, to help children through the SEL process and identify students who are dealing with serious emotional distress?
Yeah, so this platform is actually inspired by a well-known psychotherapy called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
So we use 3 steps to guide the child through the process, including storytelling, emotion labeling, and coping solutions, which we can see in CBT. So for every step, we will use AI to automatically convert their text into graphics. In that way, kids can create art without needing to draw it by hand, and they can just create art, but also they can also experience a form of psychotherapy for themselves.
Got it.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of research that proves the impact of reflective journaling.
Got it. Okay.
And so I think a big part of what we hope will happen is it's simple, it's kid-friendly, but it really trains students starting at a young age to think and to be metacognizant, almost to think about how they think. And so being able to really identify the experience and the emotion that's attached to that, and then a coping strategy. So the more students are provided opportunities to reflect and to journal, the quicker they're able to identify these 3 areas and apply those skills and strategies more consistently in their lives.
Right.
And as adults, we can do that too.
Yeah. Well, honestly, you need to make a MangaX for like adults. Because sometimes I feel like I just need to write. I just want to look at cartoons and write my thoughts down too. Because
you can use it.
All right. So, Genevieve, can you give some specific examples of how SEL skills are taught through one of the journaling exercises?
So the exercises are all the same as far as the template for how the students input their information. Okay. But as the teacher and the counselor, you can really direct the students' attention by providing specific prompts that allow them to explore different areas of themselves, their own personal experiences, or their emotions, or their social situations, or maybe they're feeling angry with their family or their best friend, or they want to punch their brother, things like this, where maybe the teachers can be like, okay, let's redirect that and figure out how to process this more effectively.
Yes.
Because it really is a training, right? And it's that repetition of rewiring the neurotransmitters where we're used to reacting in a physical way or an emotional way, and learning how to change that to a response by being more clear and conscious of the impact that we're having on other people. So the things that we say, the actions we do, the behaviors we have, and just being more aware of what I am doing and how that affects and impacts other people. And if I'm trying to process a problem, hitting or yelling or punching, kicking, biting someone isn't
not productive.
Right?
does not provide a good outcome.
Exactly. I mean, as adults, we get frustrated with people, but we can't go biting them, right? So we need to start training students at a young age how to be more respectful and more conscious in their interactions with other people and dealing with big emotions and small emotions.
Yeah.
You know, and as a 6-year-old, something that might be small to us as an adult is a big thing, you know.
Right.
And so just
precisely.
helping them understand it's okay, like you can have the emotion. And that's another big thing too, is helping students understand, because oftentimes emotions get labeled as good or bad.
Right.
But that's not accurate. Emotions are there. It's a response. It's how we process the experience. So the emotion is not bad. It's what we do with that emotion that could be positive or negative.
Right. Precisely. Right. Exactly. It is like the process of, like, I think maturing, understanding how to channel that energy. When you're angry, what can I do to, like, kind of like not like increase that anger, but actually like tone down the anger? What is the source of the anger? How do I remove the source of that anger? I'm assuming that's like part of what SEL largely is about. Is that correct?
That is a big part of what SEL is about. Yes, exactly. Self-regulation. So there's 5 core aspects of SEL. But one of those is definitely self-regulation.
Got it. Okay, sure.
Coping. And then on the platform, the third step of the CBT process is identifying a coping strategy. So it's training the students to figure out which strategy would work best in this particular situation.
Mm-hmm. Now, Joe, what's the process like of taking those SEL skills and coding and developing it into an exercise?
Yes, that's a great question. At the beginning, we just know the traditional way to write a journal, especially journaling about the feelings. But I myself also a amateur comic artist. So when I take a look at the CBT process, I just thought it's just familiar to me. I mean, it's just like how I draw my comics.
Mm-hmm.
I need to identify the story. I need to identify the emotions of the characters, and I will also create their response or reactions. So I kind of like use my own drawing experience and then incorporate it into the process of dealing with the emotions. And I also know how to develop algorithm and programs. So I myself, with my team, co-work together and to build up this technology that can convert text into comics. So all of the things just combine together and come up with this platform.
Mm-hmm. So the pictures themselves, they're not entirely computer generated, right? So you actually have like a library of the, because I haven't actually done the journaling myself, but yeah, how does that work?
You're right.
Yeah.
So it's like a line stickers of just like what you said. We have an image database, and we have different type of image. Like we have predefined avatar characters with different emotions, and we have different background and speech bubble. And then we will use natural language processing to analyze the journal content and then try to map the text into a group of image text. So this can help us retrieve the images that we want, and then we just compose them together by using templates.
Got it. Makes perfect sense. That's still very challenging. I imagine there must have been a lot of technical hurdles, right?
Yeah, you're right.
All right. So you mentioned in your pitch that Manga Chat was already able to help identify a student that was having suicidal thoughts, which was quite remarkable, I'm going to be honest. And so can you please tell us a bit more about this particular story?
So it's a middle school student, and she we can't go into too much specifics.
Right. I understand.
Basically, she was able to use this platform to express how she was feeling and talk about these suicidal thoughts. And so the teacher was able to see that she was needing that immediate help and support. And so the student was the teachers and counselors talked with the student, and basically she just shared how stressed she was feeling, both with her academics and with her parents. And she wanted to have these perfect grades for her parents. And she, felt like her value was tied to her grades, and that her parents would only be proud of her if she was getting high enough grades. And although she was a very good student, she was still applying additional unnecessary pressure to herself because it wasn't perfect every single time. And unfortunately, there's a lot of students who fall under this umbrella of this idea of I'm only loved or valued if I'm perfect, and my parents won't love me if I'm not. So if they don't love me, why should I be here? Or just too much stress causes mental breakdowns, and then delusions and things can happen. So fortunately, the teacher and the counselor were able to talk with her and talk with the parents, and they were able to clarify things, and the parents now know okay, we need to reduce the amount of pressure that we're putting on our child, and just let her know that we love her, because that's the most important thing, way more important than grades, right?
I'm sure she's still getting great grades, honestly.
I just want to add one more thing.
Yes, please, Joe.
Yes. So I believe that we have teachers and school counselors, and the government also want to emphasize how serious this problem is. So they just give more budget to hire more school counselors. But the problem is, I think the platform can increase the ability of self-awareness for students, because once students know their emotions are acceptable and can be accepted, and they have the right and they have the chance to express their feelings, then we can tackle this gap. So they can just connect to the resources out there, and then teachers and counselors can know the students have the need, and they could, so that they can provide immediate support.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. As a way to say, even if you have more counselors, this is a way to augment their ability and to gain insights and kind of I think really it's an early warning way to identify a lot of emotional issues. And to be honest, it sounds like even kids who are largely well adjusted are going to have rough periods. Manga Chat is a great way to also help them get through those rough periods, and also identify when they are going through those rough patches, and maybe actually proactively get in there and find counseling to help them through that little bit of a rough patch, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And something that's very helpful is in the teacher dashboard, there are a plethora of reports that are generated based on the students' input and content. And so it really does help teachers be able to quickly and easily identify students in need.
Right. Okay. So now that you've won Dragon's Chamber, what's next?
We are still working really hard on continuing to develop the platform. We are meeting with different investors. We've had several meetings, kind of consulting meetings, which have been very helpful from the sponsors of Dragon Chambers. So all of that has been going really well.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
And Joe and I are collaborating because I also have a nonprofit organization based in the States.
Yes, I did that. I found out about that while doing my research about you guys.
Well done. And so it's called Know My World. And so I am working on opening or establishing an association here in Taiwan so that we can continue to work collaboratively together in combining our efforts in supporting more students and more schools here. So if anyone wants to support us in that, feel free. So we're also co-developing more programs to help us get into more schools.
Great.
Which is great. Yeah.
And Joe, how would you describe the whole Dragon's Chamber process and experience?
The experience was amazing. so much attention right now, but
Yeah.
also a lot of pressure. But the good news that we have more attention, so that it just increase our internet visibility and credibility, and it helps us easily penetrate the schools right now. So because we have a credit right now, and I do have a lot of expectation about 2022 to have more schools subscribing our platform and service, and also we just want to increase our social impact to more schools and more countries.
That's fantastic. That really is, guys. And so lastly, how do our listeners find out more about MangaX and your product, Manga Chat?
All right, so I think you just Google for MangaX and Manga Chat, and you can see the link.
Do you have a Facebook page? Are there like, can you give me, how about do you have a URL that you can give me? And
Sure. Or you can search for 漫画科技.
Manhua Keji for in Chinese. Yeah, that's really good. Email address. How about the generic email address for direct inquiries?
Yes, we have emails. And if you are interested in our program, which is Cultural Exchange, Journal Exchange Program, so you can also email us and also share our flyers to the schools or principals you know who may be interested in this program. And in 2022, we not only focus on social and emotional learning, but we also want to incorporate SEL with different elements like writing and cultural exchange.
Yes. Yeah, I remember hearing that's an area that you want to expand into. But we're looking forward to everything, and great. Best of luck with everything, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to speak to me.
Thank you so much for your time with this interview. And we'll send you all the links and URLs so we can add them to the comments or description section.
I'll add them in all the show notes. And for the CanCham stuff, we'll definitely put it in the Facebook post. Once again, congratulations and all the best in 2022.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Once again, we'd like to congratulate MangaX for their winning pitch. If you are a founder of a startup and would like to participate in the 2022 contest, or you're a company that would like to sponsor the event, please feel free to reach out to us. As always, send your inquiries to info@canchamtw.com. We'll also have links to MangaX, Dragon's Chamber, and CanCham websites in the notes. Thanks for listening, and farewell until next time.